What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my current makeup, current beauty favorites, and a little get ready with me. I created this look for you guys. These are really like my go-to products, like stuff that I can't stop grabbing off my vanity to do my makeup like every single day for the last, I don't know, month, 2 months, 3 months even. Like, I'm telling you, these are just like really good current favorites. Some new stuff, some like classic stuff. But if you are in the market for just some new makeup products, just like a little product refresh, or even just like a couple new things in your collection that you're like, ooh, I think I might need a new bronzer, I might need a new foundation, might need a new setting spray, brow product. I covered everything today, like every category. If you're looking for something that's really good, these are all my go-tos. So if you wanna see how I got this look right here, you wanna hear my current beauty favorites, then keep on watching. Also, if you're new, hit that subscribe button, join the fam. If you're not new, what up fam, love you. Let's jump right in. Okay, so I have my headband on and I actually learned this trick. Someone commented on my TikTok that like the little bow that's on the back of your headband is meant to like hold your hair up. So you're supposed to like put these around your hair and have it be like a little pony. I don't know, I'm not sure, but like, yes, my hair is completely out of the way and we're ready to go. So let's get started. So I'm gonna start off with my Vanish primer from Hourglass. This is a new one that I really have been loving because if you're like me and you have any type of fine lines or enlarged pores, this truly makes everything just vanish. I mean, it really does. It just lets the makeup lay on top of the skin so beautifully. So I'm just working that in pretty well. And I like to really press it in. You want it to like really fill in the pores and fill in the fine lines. And if you have like an extra 5 minutes to just let this sit before you do anything else, that is a little tip to really make the base of your face and like your foundation, everything look so good. It's just like let that primer sit and really work it in. Okay, so you guys have probably seen the reviews on my channel for a bunch of different foundations. My current favorites are these two right here, the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin and the GIORGIO Armani Luminous Silk. I use these a little bit interchangeably, but what I've really been loving is to mix them together. Don't be mad at me, I know that's really extra, but I really like the combination of the two. Sometimes it's just hard for me to choose one because so many different foundations just do different things for your skin. These shades are almost exactly the same. I would say maybe my Luminous Silk is like not even a full shade lighter. So Luminous Silk, I use shade 5, and then Charlotte, I use shade 4. So 5 and 4. And I'm just gonna put that on the back of my hand. I'm actually gonna put this on with my finger first, then use my sponge so my sponge doesn't eat all the product. I don't know, something about the combination of these two. I mean, they're both really good by themselves, and I wanted to mention them both if you are looking for a new foundation. I really love both of those. I would say it's so hard to pick because it really just depends on your skin. But I would say for more of like a glam, I'm using GIORGIO Armani. For more of an everyday, I'm using the Charlotte Beautiful Skin. But if you have like a few events that you have coming up and you feel like you're gonna be doing more glam looks in the near future, you might wanna just go with the Armani. If that's not you and you just want like a really good everyday foundation, I would do Charlotte. So I definitely think you can use GIORGIO Armani as an everyday as well, but Charlotte really gets the job done. It's a little cheaper and it has ingredients that are good for your skin. So it's like skincare foundation. You know what I'm saying? So that's my recommendation. It's really hard. Like people have been asking me on my videos, which one do you recommend? Like which one do you like the most? And like it really depends on the day. I would say the one I like the least is the NARS, though I still really like the NARS. If you have super dry skin, you're gonna love the NARS. I just tend to get a little too oily in combination for the NARS, so I found that I had to like set it a little bit more because it's so dewy on me. As you guys can see, that is those two foundations mixed together. The shade match is perfection on me, but it's really just a like flawless, still skin-like makeup application. Like you can still see my skin through it, but everything is even. It's just nice. So those two foundations and that primer, like I really have been loving that combo. For concealer, I really can't stop using my nude sticks. This has definitely been my favorite concealer for a long time. I just keep going back to it even after I get some new ones to try out. I just think it's really effortless. Formula is perfect. It's light, but it still gives me good coverage. I wear the shade Nude 2, and you can see like it's just half a shade, maybe one shade lighter than my foundation. It's still neutral, and it's really beautiful and really easy to use. So this has been my go-to. I know a lot of people have also been asking me for concealer recommendations. This is it. This is the one I just always use, okay? And then I'm going on top of that with my Patrick Ta, what is this called? I always forget. Dewy Milk Mist. You guys see this? How stunning is this? This is just gonna like do it up a little bit. I know you don't need much of this, but I just find it's gonna like reinvigorate the skin, reinvigorate the product, and it just adds that extra layer of hydration that sometimes when you're putting like a foundation, relatively full coverage foundation and concealer on your skin, like sometimes things can just get like a little dry and just not as like milky, silky, flawless as we want. So I just love to do that step before my concealer. And you could see how easy and beautifully that blends out. I obviously could not make a current beauty favorites video without using my Dibs products. I just need to show you guys how low I am on this contour shade. I am at the bottom, like I can't even twist it up anymore. Like that's it. That's how much I love it. I use this every single day. And this is the shade Mood Boost. I believe it's shade 2. I'm just beyond obsessed. It's the perfect undertone. It's so easy to use. These are definitely one of those products where I feel like there's a little bit of a learning curve because they're so different than anything else I've ever used because they're so insanely creamy. If you feel like if you have this product and you haven't really mastered how to use it, it's insanely buildable. So I think one of the hardest things about learning with this product is that if you use a brush or a sponge, it's gonna blend out a lot of the product. So I think your finger is a really good way to use it just because it just moves the product around, it doesn't suck it up, and it still blends out so seamlessly with your finger. It's just a little bit more work. If you use a sponge or a brush, it's still gonna look great, but it's gonna be a much more subtle application. And you might have to go back on top with like another layer, which not a big deal, but just like so you're aware. These blend out so insanely quick. I think some people struggle with that. I've had conversations with people just like, I love those products. I love the Dibs that you recommended. I'm using them, but I'm still trying to figure out how to use them and how to make them work for me. So just obviously trial and error, keep using them as much as you can, and then you're gonna figure out what works for you. So you can see like I did my finger, now I'm doing a little bit on top of the sponge just to like fully airbrush blend it out. And then I may even go over top once I'm done with a little bit more, just like carve it out and like continue to warm it up. But I'm so obsessed with these. I think if you're a mom or you're just like that lazy girl, quick makeup aesthetic type person, you will be obsessed with these. Everyone that I have told about these that have used them adore them. So I feel like they kind of speak for themselves. All right, so now we brought that down a little low. I'm not like that pumped, like I should have kept it up. I want to keep it up a little bit higher. I'm gonna go on to blush. So I do love the Dibs blush, but I quickly fell more in love with the Patrick Ta blush after I used it in that Patrick Ta video. If you guys watched that on my channel, check it out. This is the shade She's That Girl. It's stunning. It's like, I don't even know what it is. It's peachy and pinky. I like to apply the cream with my sponge. Just kind of like tap it in there. Watch how pigmented this is and how creamy. It just gives immediate life to the face. I just feel, again, like it's so easy to use. It can blend out, but it's so buildable. I think this is gorgeous. This is gonna be like my go-to summer, spring blush. I like to do a little bit over the nose. And then it also comes with a powder blush that I will apply on top just to kind of set everything in place. And apparently what I learned, I think one of my subscribers told me this, he made these so they can be layered on top of each other either way. So you could do powder first, then cream, or like I like to do cream and then powder. So I've kind of messed with both ways. I love it. I just think it's so pretty. Okay, so I just grabbed a teeny bit more of the Dibs bronzer and a little bit of my concealer, and I kind of cleaned that line up a little bit. And just remember, you want to be blending upward with these products. You don't want to drag them down because it's going to drag your face down. So that's a little tip. You can always clean things up with the foundation or your concealer. Like I'm gonna grab just a little bit more of my Giorgio Armani, teeny bit, and I'm gonna put that on a little bit on my sponge. I'm just gonna clean this up a teeny bit. Like anywhere I feel like just needs like that extra little airbrush, I'm just gonna add a teeny bit more. A little bit more coverage, but really just to like kind of make everything a little more seamless. We have no powder on the face. Honestly, as I get older, I like to use less and less powder because powder settles in fine lines. It's not the best for mature skin. Not that my skin is that mature, but it's definitely more mature than it used to be. Okay, so the Kosas powder has been my go-to, like cannot stop using. I use the shade Feathery, and you can see it's just the perfect shade. I like to use a small brush just so I can keep this really concentrated. I don't wanna overdo it with this powder. I just wanna hit the areas where I get oily and where I might crease a little bit. Or if I have like a little bit of like a blemish and I need a little more coverage, you can see I'm just kind of like dipping in, tapping this on, and this honestly just airbrushes the skin in the most beautiful way. So you just have to be careful with this where like, just don't get too heavy handed. The first time I used it, I was so in love with it. I put so much on and I was like, okay, I have way too much powder on my face. So a little bit goes a long way with this stuff, but I personally think it's one of the best powders I've ever used between this one and the Charlotte Tilbury. I love them both, but I go for this one a little bit more. I just think because I use a liquid foundation, I love this on top of a liquid foundation, whereas the Charlotte, I like to use this if I'm not wearing like a lot else underneath. It's just a little bit fuller coverage in my opinion. Okay, let's move on to brows because you guys may already know if you watch my channel. So Patrick Ta, the brow wax. It took me a minute to figure out how to use this in a way that would work for me and my brows because I don't have crazy like thick hair, but I do really like this brow product a lot. It's definitely a favorite. I keep using it. I love the effect it gives. So you just want to spray some kind of spray in here to like activate the product. It can be a setting spray, whatever. And then you're gonna grab a spoolie, which if you watch my Patrick Ta video, you've already seen me do this, but I'm gonna use the correct spoolie this time. I bought this one on his site. You don't need much, just kind of swirl it around. So you're just going to brush this through your brow hairs and it's gonna make them kind of stand up on edge, you see that? So this is obviously crazy, right? But you're just gonna wanna like coat your brows so that like the wax is in them fully, and a little bit goes a long way, like I said. So just like to do this on both sides. Okay, so you can see they're standing up. They look much fuller now, don't they? So from here, I'm basically just gonna shape them and fill them the way I want them. And the way I'm gonna do that is with my my Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil in the shade 3.5. So I like to use something that has like a fine point like this because I can do these tiny little hair-like strokes just to make it look like my brows are naturally fuller. And I'm just gonna work this in the brow, and this is like a ride or die product. This isn't like a new favorite, but you guys, it's so, the combination of these two, this with the brow wax, is so good. I found that my brow gels were getting a little crusty. It's so gross to say, but like really true. I think I just probably needed some new ones because they're probably kind of old. But I felt like by the end of the day, like they were like crisping out of my brows and I was like, what is happening? So I'm very happy that I found the brow wax because your brows really don't move and there's no like residue in your brows. So you can see I'm just kind of like filling them out, kind of creating that shape. And then you can either use the spoolie on the back of this product or go back to your Patrick Ta spoolie and you're just gonna like blend that out a little bit. And again, place these where you want them, but you don't want to blend too much like of the product away because I'm basically trying to like make this beautiful shape right here. But it takes a minute, it takes a little patience, especially with my brows. My brows are just like all over the place these days. They need to get done, but I also feel like with postpartum hair loss, like my brows are actually like, I don't know if my brows are falling out or they're thinning or what, but they're just not, they're not what we want. But then after I use these two, I'm like, oh, hello. They look so beautiful. You see that? I just love that. It looks so natural, but they look so much fuller than we started. Do you see how sad they were when we started? So I'm kind of just finessing this as I go, but I'm gonna repeat the exact same thing on this side. All right, guys, so brows are on. Do you see what I mean by like, it's just this full effortless, my brows have never looked better. Like I've never used a combination of products where my brows have looked better in my opinion. These remind me of like as close as I could possibly get to like the perfect Desi brow. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like Desi always has the most gorgeous brows when she fills them in. I never know how she does it. And I just feel like this is as close as I'm ever gonna get to that. The wax defines each individual brow hair and it just makes them look so dang good. So I kind of keep an eye on those. You really want that to dry down. Don't go over everything with like a bronzer right now and mess them all up because they will move. You want this to like fully dry down and set. All right, next, what else have I've been loving? I would either do the Dibs or the Charlotte Tilbury at this point. I think I'm gonna do Charlotte Tilbury just cause I don't know, I feel like it. For my, like a little bit of like a glow moment. Sometimes I do Charlotte all over the face, but sometimes I also just like to use this in a more concentrated way. You just want something kind of dense. And I find that the sponge again will eat more of the product. So I like to put this on my nose, like down my nose as my little nose highlight. And then Cupid's bow, just to brighten that up. See the difference that makes. And then just regular places that we highlight. Just kind of like tap this in with like a little dense brush. This one's from Real Techniques. I love their brushes, super inexpensive and they're great. Okay, so now we have a little bit of a glow coming off the skin and I always wanna glow a little bit. So you could also use the Dibs. I love them both. Like I said, Charlotte is not a new favorite. Dibs is a relatively new favorite. This is the shade High Road Highlight, is the one that I love from Dibs. Let's not do a ton of eyeshadow, but my current favorite eyeshadow palette by far, Patrick Ta. If you guys wanna see a little eyeshadow tutorial, watch that video. But what I'm gonna use today is an angled brush and his darkest cream brown, I don't know, color, palette, whatever, color in the palette. He has two creams and then he has powders and shimmers. The cream, the dark cream brown is the most gorgeous color and I absolutely love using it as an eyeliner. So I am just starting at the center of my eye and working my way outward. I'm keeping this really close to the lash line, but look how gorgeous this eyeliner is. It's so subtle. Like it's not like obviously like a black where it's like, oh my God, but it still defines the eyes in the most beautiful way. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's so good. So like I said, starting at in the center, maybe a little bit in the in towards the center, and then working my way out. And I just do like this tiny, I don't even want like a wing. I really just want it to get a little thicker on the outer part, and then it's not so good. And then I'll do a little bit of that on the lower lash line as well. Just like that. Same thing on the other side. So you could leave this, you know, super concentrated and precise. I kind of just like glob the product on because I'm usually in a rush when I'm doing this. And then I like to just use my finger and kind of like dab it and work it into the lid, like work it up a little bit. So it doubles as a little bit of an eyeshadow and it kind of like smokes it out. You see what I'm saying? Like I just brought that color up a little bit, right where I would normally put my eyeshadow. And then if there's any, you know, stuff you want to clean up, I always just use my beauty sponge for that. Just kind of clean this up right here. You can also grab a smaller brush for the lower lash line and just like kind of buff this out with a brush if you want. Just because sometimes it's hard to get your finger underneath your lower lash line, especially if you have nails. So yeah, I'm just kind of cleaning this up, making sure it's not coming down too low, but you can see that pigment is now on the lid and it's just like the easiest, quickest little, it's not even, it's like a little eyeshadow tutorial, but it's like one shade, it's eyeliner, and then you kind of like turn it into an eyeshadow. And I love it. The color is so good, the shade's so good. Okay, if you want, you could go on top of that if you wanted to define it a little bit more with his darkest brown, same angled brush, and just kind of, why don't I just do it and show you? Just kind of tap this right on the lash line just for a little bit more definition. It's just gonna thicken up the brows. I mean, the lashes. Okay, so now we have like a little bit more of a defined line. No wing, nothing crazy. Okay, to finish off the eyes, I'm just gonna grab his lightest shade and my finger, and I'm just gonna pop this in the inner corner. And I just think that is the most stunning, easiest little pop of like, boom, boop. I just think it's so pretty. You can even bring it up a little bit higher, like right in the inner corner if you want, but I don't really want to touch the lids. I'm just trying to keep this simple. And then last thing is my Caliray mascara, you guys. I just can't stop using this. It's one of those mascaras that makes your lashes longer and thicker. So I used to use Too Faced Better Than Sex. It's still probably one of my favorites, but I'm telling you, with my postpartum hair loss, I even feel like my eyelashes are thinner. This mascara will build length on top of length, like out of nothing. So like even if you don't have long lashes, the fibers like jump on top of each other and make your lashes look longer. So when you wash this off, you're gonna see, like in the sink, you're gonna see like strips of almost what look like a lash, because that's like how the formula works. It's very cool. And you can see like, okay, I just did like a couple quick coats here. Look at how much longer these lashes look in comparison to just like with nothing on. Like it really lengthens them. I just need that right now. So this has been by far my favorite mascara, like can't stop using it. So I'm really sad because over the weekend I brought my favorite Caliray lip gloss out and I left it out at one of the restaurants that I was at, and I'm so sad. Like I almost went back, I almost called them and was like, do you have my lip gloss? But I'm sure they threw it out. So I need to go buy it. I'm gonna show you guys the other Caliray lip gloss today because I have a different shade, but the one I've been obsessed with is the one that I lost, and I'm so sad. Okay, but see what I mean? Like, see the difference in the lashes with that mascara? Like, look at this eye. It's really incredible. All right, we're gonna let that dry down, then we'll clean up our mistakes. If you're looking for a powder bronzer, I would be remiss, is that the right word, to not mention my Charlotte bronzer. This is not a new favorite. Again, this is more of like a ride or die type product. I've just been obsessed with this ever since I got it. It's so good. So I like to mix this on top after I've done the dibs. You don't need it. Like you can see I'm bronzed enough from the dibs and I'm all set, but this is gonna add like a layer of longevity to your bronzer because it's powder. It's gonna kind of like set everything. It warms everything up a little bit more. And because it's a powder, it's just gonna like sit on top. It's gonna kind of like set everything. This is just one of those products that like, it's just an all-time favorite bronzer. It just finishes off a look, you know what I mean? Like I just feel like that right there took everything to the next level. It warmed up the face, it sculpted the face a little bit more. It's the perfect shade, this neutral brown, but it also has like this slight red undertone where it looks like so natural that it was like color from the sun. You know what I mean? It's so good. You guys probably already know this if you watch my channel, but I always clean up my mess, my mascara mess with just a spoolie. Just kind of flick off the product. Giving the brows one more little like perfection little comb through. And now they're like pretty dried down and these are not gonna move. Last thing is lips. So I have to just use the Dibs lip liner. I think these are still in stock, so I'm gonna say these. I have been loving my Il Makiage Carly Bible so much recently, and I've used this in videos and it's sold out. So I'm not gonna mention this one because that's just annoying. But these really are my favorite lip products that I've used in a long time. You can just really contour your lips and make them the exact shape you want with these liners. The way they come is you get a definer shade and a liner shade, and you can actually stick them together like this, which is so cool because you have it all in one. So here is the definer. I believe this is the lightest shade, and then I actually used the two lightest shades. So this is the lightest liner shade, this pink. I'll find the shade for you guys and put it on the screen for you to make sure, and I'll link everything, of course. And then definer shade. So you're gonna start with the definer shade, and this is where I'm just shaping the lips. So I'm starting down here to just like give me this extra like almost pout. You see what that did right there? And then bringing that upward. And I'm really, like I said, I'm shaping the lips exactly the shape I want them to be. I'm making sure everything's symmetrical because my lips actually are not symmetrical. And then Cupid's bow, I'm gonna do this like right above, like right in here where it kind of dips, and I'm gonna create this little shadow with this liner to overline. See how I did that? Do you guys see that? Like, I didn't do it right here. I did it right in here. Boom. And that's gonna make this top lip look so much more full. And then I'm bringing this down, and now I'm meeting my natural lip line here. So you don't wanna overline too much on the side because you're gonna look like clowny, like Ronald McDonald. And light hand, same exact thing over here. All right, so now I'm just gonna shade in the outer corners, these like triangles right here. I'm gonna create triangles, shade those in a little bit, not too much. And then we're gonna pop over to our liner. And I'm gonna do this just right below that contour shade, right here, just like right below. You still want that brown shade to like peek through at the top, and then you can see I'm just like filling in those triangles. I'm going right above, almost like on my actual lip line is where I'm putting this. Okay, and then we're leaving the centers how they are. We're not touching those. Next, Caliray Plumping Lip Gloss. Okay, so my favorite shade is Orchid Ranch. That's the one I lost. So this one is Likely Story. It's just a little more peachy, less purpley. I tend to like a little more purpley, but this lip is still so good. It's so like yummy on the lips. It feels so good, but it also looks so good. Feels like velvet on the lips. And it really does make your lips look plumper. Last thing I'm gonna do is just grab my Patrick Ta Mist again and just mist away. Gives me a teeny bit more glow, but also just sets everything. And my hair is probably trash from that headband now, but we're gonna make it work. One moment. All right, guys, so this is the final look right here. I'll give you a little close up. These really are my favorite products right now, like stuff that I'm using every single day. I can't stop grabbing. I hope that you enjoyed this little get ready with me current beauty favorites video, and I will see you guys in Sunday's vlog. Make sure you subscribe before you go, and I will see you then. Bye.